Joining me now to talk more about the results and its response to DeepSeek, of course, the stock's momentum too, is Angelo Zino. He's SVP and Technology Head at CFRA Research. Angelo, it's great to have you. And let's start with the results. How did they look to you?
Yeah, so thanks for having me, Kristen. I think overall the results were pretty much as good as you could have asked for, to be honest with you. They beat as far as the quarter was concerned, largely due to the Blackwell ramp, which is kind of their newest GPU out there. They actually generated about 11 billion in terms of revenue on Blackwell, which I think is well above almost what anybody had anticipated. We were looking ourselves for about 7 to 9 billion. So that was good on that side of things. And then all eyes were clearly on the guidance side of things, and he guided about $1 billion above the street. And they are typically pretty conservative when it comes to the guidance. So what you are seeing here into the April quarter, and we think into the July quarter, is kind of a ramp up of kind of Blackwell. Now, this is kind of post some of the supply constraints that we've seen here over the last couple of months. So definitely a good sign, as the demand trajectory looks pretty good for NVIDIA here over the next couple of quarters. All eyes were whether they can execute on Blackwell, and it looks like they've kind of finally hit kind of all cylinders running at this point.
It's interesting, Angelo. We do see the stock up about 2%. Of course, it has had a meteoric rise really since the debut of ChatGPT and OpenAI. NVIDIA has been a major winner there. It's cooled down a little bit of late, but it is important to the overall health of the stock market. So how long do you think some of this momentum in the stock can last?
Yeah, no, listen, I think that's a fair question. When you kind of look at the trajectory of their revenue over the last 2 years, I mean, they more than doubled revenue last year, and in January is their year end. They more than doubled revenue the year before that. So they've seen this kind of massive run in terms of the fundamentals of their business, right? Which has kind of driven the performance in this stock. Now, when we kind of look ahead and when you kind of look at the performance here over the last kind of 9 months or so, essentially since kind of tech essentially kind of hit a peak early last summer, we've seen kind of this digestion and compression of multiples. And in many respects, we think that's actually a pretty healthy digestion, and kind of reflects a lot of uncertainties that we see ahead for this company. I think there are a lot of concerns on whether or not kind of some of the demand out there is sustainable in nature due to some of the concerns tied to AI monetization out there. Clearly, there are some geopolitical concerns out there tied to China. So there is still kind of some work and some uncertainties that NVIDIA has to get through. If some of those uncertainties work in their favor, clearly there is going to be more upside here for the stock. But we wouldn't be surprised if kind of over the next couple of weeks, the stock remains range bound until we get better clarity on that side of things. I will make this one comment about kind of the calendar right now. That works in their favor. You've got their GTC conference on March 17th. That's when Jensen's kind of keynote speech is. You're going to hear a lot about kind of the next product offerings out there. That's going to be an important event. And then you've kind of got developer conferences that are really going to ramp in April, May, June with the likes of Alphabet and Amazon and even Apple in early June. And those all have the potential to be positive catalysts as far as kind of the AI trade is concerned.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned China, Angelo. Obviously, DeepSeek has really sent waves through the market, and NVIDIA did address that last night. What did we hear from Jensen Huang about DeepSeek that could provide investors a little bit more ease?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that it was kind of one of the biggest questions out there was kind of how would Jensen kind of address DeepSeek and kind of the post DeepSeek landscape. And for the most part, he was very bullish. I mean, he basically talked about the need for these next gen reasoning models out there to require as much as 100x more compute out there, and essentially the idea of something called model distillation out there. And essentially, model distillation essentially is the likes of a company like DeepSeek kind of leveraging a lot of the learnings from some larger language models out there. For instance, Llama, among others out there, that of Alibaba's, and leveraging those models. And that's going to actually require more compute, again, as much as 100x relative to just pre-training alone. So as you kind of get more and more of these models that are out there, his belief is, hey, listen, you're going to need a lot more compute to kind of meet the greater capacity needs that are out there. So we'll wait and see whether or not that's true. But typically, I think the way he addressed the question was very positive in nature for investors.
So with the stock off its record high a bit, Angelo, do you think it is a buying opportunity for investors right now?
I mean, we do. I mean, largely due to the fact that, hey, listen, the earnings power is still going to be there here over the next 12 months or so. And when you kind of look at the free cash flow generation exiting this calendar year, we think it's going to reach, essentially $100 billion run rate. So when we think about the valuation trading about 25 times next year, also kind of near historic or near 9-10 year lows out there, we think it discounts a number of the risks out there. Clearly, if some of the risks that I alluded to come to fruition, specifically some on the geopolitical side of things, there is going to be some kind of downside, for investors out there. But at this moment in time, we do like the stock at these levels.
Yeah, we see the stock again higher pre-market, down about 12% with those pre-market gains from its all-time high. So perhaps a buying opportunity. Angelo, you are the expert there. You're the one to say that. So of course, something for our viewers to consider. But we will continue to follow this stock. Angelo Zino, we so appreciate you joining the show as always. He's the SVP and Technology Head at CFRA Research. Thank you.
Thank you.